Oh. Oh, say, can you see by the dawn's early light?
I'd like to welcome you to the second dedication of our Medal of Honor Heritage Trail for 4 recipients of the Medal of Honor here on Lookout Mountain 150 years ago this month. 4 recipients you'll learn a little bit more about from the 149th New York Volunteers were awarded the Medal of Honor for action here on November 24th, 1863. We have 2 speakers today, and the first speaker will be General B.B. Bell, standing to my immediate left.
Lookout Mountain. There it is, huh? The nation's future was the prize right here. Question was, would we be the United States of America, or would we disintegrate into several countries or even ungoverned territories, as they call them now? Was it our destiny to be the greatest nation in the history of the world, a beacon, a fortress, literally, of freedom, liberty, and democracy? And as we'll learn here, 4 brave, courageous soldiers on this ground, Lookout Mountain, November 24th, 1863. I guess that's just a little over a week from today. On this slope, they pushed forward into the fog of the day, the clouds then, and of course the chaos of battle, then up this slope to secure America's future. Now, let me just take you back a couple of years. I'm going to talk about me, not because I care about me, but it matters. I grew up in Oak Ridge, about 90 miles north of here, and my dad often spoke of that famous town, Chattanooga, well to our south. It was there, Dad would tell me, that a series of fierce battles, I didn't really know what he was talking about, but that were fought in the late summer and fall of 1863, where the North finally was able to penetrate deep into the South and set the stage for Lee's surrender at Appomattox. Now, Dad would even periodically drive us down here to view the battlefields of Chickamauga, Lookout Mountain, Missionary Ridge, and some other places. And some of you will remember this, but visiting the electromechanical, I don't know what that means, but the electromechanical Confederama at the base of this mountain was always a must for our family, and I loved it. I couldn't figure out what made it work. Who ever heard of that? Come on, come on, come on. There you go. I mean the old one, the real one. Yep. Now, when I graduated from high school, the lure of the Chattanooga area's history brought me, no kidding, to the University of Chattanooga in those days, where I enjoyed 4 years of superb education, met my bride, Katie Bell, who lived here, but I also joined the Army ROTC program at UC. And we visited those battlefields periodically. Also, we used to go down to North Georgia, a place called the Catoosa National Guard Training Site, to fire our weapons and play with them down there. There, I'll never forget, with weapon in hand, I easily imagined Confederate troops maneuvering into position on that very ground to engage and defeat Federal forces at the Battle of Chickamauga. I could also feel right there, if you look around that area, the hasty, disorganized retreat by the Confederates towards Dalton in the aftermath of the North's breakout from Chattanooga at Wauhatchie, Lookout Mountain, Missionary Ridge, and then down to Ringgold Gap. And of course, the subsequent march to Atlanta. I longed in those days, as an ROTC student, to know more about all the heroes that made that history. But, you know, I graduated from UC, and Katie and I left Chattanooga for the military. We didn't return, except for short family visits, for 39 years. Coming back into Chattanooga, I was stunned by the incredible aquarium, the riverfront, great museums, downtown businesses, an amazing University of Tennessee at Chattanooga now, prosperous industries, expansion and growth, etc. But I asked myself, what happened to the Civil War and its heroes? Because nobody was talking about it. They seemed to be missing in action. I knew they were still there, but the lure of Chattanooga's wonderful and transformational attractions had somehow minimized the city's status as one of the most important Civil War historical areas. Now, finally, the National Medal of Honor Museum of Military History is helping Chattanooga rediscover its roots. While honoring these brave soldiers who were awarded the Medal of Honor for exceptional valor and heroism in combat during the drive to save this nation. This is Chattanooga's history and Chattanooga's most glorious heritage. Cataclysmic Civil War battles for the nation's survival. And as you hopefully know, Chattanooga is indeed the birthplace of our Medal of Honor, awarded first to Private Jacob Parrott, one of the original Andrews Raiders, the raid known as the Great Locomotive Chase in 1862. And Chattanooga is also one of the key locations of Civil War service for the only female to ever receive the Medal of Honor, Dr. Mary Edwards Walker, a battlefield surgeon who saved lives on this ground. Now, the locations of all 33 Medal of Honor recipients who received their awards for heroism during the 1863 battles of Chickamauga and Chattanooga are being marked for all time along what is being described as the Medal of Honor Heritage Trail. We stop here today to commemorate the heroism of 4 soldiers, and we'll talk about them. I won't, but we will. Colonel Harry Barnum, First Sergeant Norman Potter, Sergeant John Kiggins, and Private Peter Capusser. This is truly sacred ground, along a path of valor marvelously described by renowned author and anthropologist E. Raymond Evans in his superb book, Paths of Valor. Raymond, right there. He will address you next, and I recommend you pay attention. He is a walking, I say history book, anthropologists don't like to use the term history. He's a walking anthropologist who knows what happened here. Thank all of you for joining us today on this very cold fall afternoon. And I would only ask before Raymond comes up here, may God continue to bless the souls of those men and women who served here, were wounded here, or were killed in action 151 years ago, almost today. Especially the 4 Medal of Honor recipients that we honor today. Thank you all very much.
Our next speaker, as BB says, is Raymond Evans, author of our book, Paths of Valor, on which the Medal of Honor Heritage Trail is established. Raymond.
151 years ago, when the battle happened, about a week and a half later than this, it was about 10 degrees colder than it is today. And it was rainy, foggy. It was more like the day before yesterday was.
Ready. Aim. Fire. Aim. Fire. Ready. Aim. Fire.
This is the second sign in our Medal of Honor Heritage Trail honoring the 33 recipients of the Medal of Honor in 1863 in Chattanooga. This sign specifically is dedicated to 4 men who received the Medal of Honor for action here November 24th, 1863 on Lookout Mountain. They are all members of the 149th New York Volunteer Infantry. First recipient was Colonel Barnum, commander of a unit here on Lookout Mountain, was wounded several times before this battle, wounded during the battle, but led his men from the front in a very courageous and outstanding manner. Second recipient, Sergeant John Kiggins, was trapped with his unit between the Confederate lines and the Union lines. He was the color bearer. In order to stop friendly fire, he stood on a stump waved the flag through the fog, was able to stop the Union Army from firing on his position. When the battle was over, he had 9 bullet holes in his clothing, was grazed on the wounded on the head, and then shot through the leg. The third recipient was Norman Potter, first sergeant, again with the 149th U.S. Volunteers, courageously led his men on the Battle of Lookout Mountain, captured an enemy flag, received the Medal of Honor. The fourth recipient, Private Kappenzer, one of the German participants in the battle, received the medal again for capturing an enemy flag. The location of the action was just above and around the Cravens house, as noted by the sign here. Additional details can be obtained from our website by scanning the QR code. And the photo here is of the New York Monument, dedicated to 4 regiments of the New York Volunteers, including the 149th. This sign represents the Medal of Honor recipients on Lookout Mountain in 1863.